Top of the morning to you. Welcome back once again to the Afia Morning Show. I'm Nathalie, and of course, Oji is here this Tuesday morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Oji.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Kedu?
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I'm just realizing this flower is here. Like, I actually just realized. I mean,
What are we celebrating?
maybe one of your secret admirers dropped the flower pot.
Who brought this stuff here?
For some reason, I just turned and I realized that there was something.
Who brought this stuff here? Is it for anybody?
Your secret admirer.
Is it for anybody?
All right, Barcez Aputa is also here with us. Barcez Aputa, good morning. He's a legal practitioner, and let's never forget, an activist and an author. Barcez Aputa, pleasure to have you this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Let's continue the story of this jacket. Right before we came back, yes.
Yes,
you are being accused of coming from the airport.
There are up to 10 of them, but I come with the other ones. You can't come to TVC. It's so sophisticated there. So that's what I was wearing there. There's the other one for most of for grandpa and during winter.
I mean, it's
I don't know how to throw them away.
Burst of nostalgia.
For instance, I'm in their need of our traditional. I'm a priest in here. These traditional dresses, red cap, and I was fortunate the other day. Oga, what here? Chairman.
Yeah.
Chief Meka Mba. He introduced me to one Chiamaka. He said it to follow me up about libation.
Yes, finally. Finally, that's libation
and I was
program.
surprised when Chiamaka said he has a copy of my book.
Yes.
So I'm trying to see how I can get traditional dresses.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen anybody in a libation dressed like this. Will you people tolerate me to be like this?
Well,
or with lawyers?
We'll leave it to the
That's
producer.
going out libation. You have to, be accustomed with the tradition.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. All right. I was wondering, is it Amaka or Amy?
It's Chiamaka.
Amy.
Tiny.
I think it's Amy.
And
Amy is the
Chiamaka.
producer. Okay, then it's Chiamaka then.
Amy, right? Yeah.
Probably Chiamaka. That's
The person
the
should be
libation
Chiamaka.
producer. And Ikenga presents. All right, let's take a look at headlines making the news this morning. We'll start with the Punch newspaper. And the bold story here. Pengasen fires back as Sochima defends Dangote. VP warns Labour Union not to hold nation hostage. Pengasen vows repeat strike if members are sacked again. Pro-Dangote protesters accuse Pengasen of sabotage. Natasha resumes at Senate today after 6-month suspension. Court remands Lagos accountant over alleged 200 million naira theft. ASU mobilizes chapters for October 13 warning strike. Insecurity, Tinubu to meet Council of State Police Thursday. Petrol imports dropped to 8-year low according to a report. 2027 lawyer asks courts to stop Jonathan from contesting. On The Guardian, student loan Nel Fund kicks as institutions hike tuition fees, charges for profit. Tame inflation to enjoy reforms, World Bank advises Nigeria's food security goals stalled by flawed procurement policy, experts claim. Also here, strike imminent as ASU mobilizes members, decries FG's inaction. Bandits kill 1, kidnap 2 residents in Kwara. And also here, certificate scandal, Mba behind my ordeals, Nnaji claims. Awujale stool, over 30 aspirants screened as more jostle for throne. Descent to president appointing INEC officials swells. We'll take that again. Descent to president appointing INEC officials swells. On The Nation, front and center here, president to oil workers, avoid strike that undermines economy. Tinubu directs NACON to reduce 2026 Hajj fares. Local processing spurs share revenue growth. Also here, Edun, allocation to states rises by 111%. And straight to Daily Independent, front and center story here. Growth yet to fully translate into enough jobs, Tinubu admits. Targets production of 2 million barrels of oil daily by end of 2025. Warns Labour over holding nation to ransom over minor disputes. Says Nigeria greater than Pengasen. Rails out achievements. Insecurity greatest deterrent to investment in the north, according to NEF. PDP governors pledge to sustain party unity, internal democracy. Also here, I am committed to ensuring every Kogi child has access to quality education, according to Ododo. Obi to INEC, end era where forgery, deceits are rewarded with power. Lastly here, ADC knocks Tinubu for retaining minister accused of certificate forgery.
Daily Global, Dangote, Nigeria greater than Pengassin, says FG. IBS monthly allocation is 15 billion naira, not 38 billion naira. OT replies Carlo. And this one says Operation Lafia Nakuma. Troops of 6th Brigade dislodged bandits' hideouts, recover ammunition and motorcycle in Taraba. Pengassin strike responsible for cooking gas price hike, says NNPC. Fidelity Bank hosts black tie gala honoring Afrizam Bank President Professor Benedict Orama. FCT Minister reiterates need for residents to pay their taxes. Nigeria's next drug control master plan must address emerging threats, says Mawa. And lastly right here, petrol remains 865 naira to a litre amid Dangote's free delivery. Moving over to Nigerian Tribune. Alleged genocide against Christians. Senate moves to counter narrative, may engage U.S. Congress. National Convention, how PDP National Secretary may emerge, attributed to the stakeholders. Obi challenges INEC to address certificate forgery ahead of 2027 polls. ASU mobilize members for nationwide strike. Retired AVM Obierika dies mid-air on British Airways flight. Court asks to restrain Jonathan from contesting 2027 presidential election. In health, choking during sex can result in stroke, convulsions, even paralysis, says experts. Same-sex marriage, Church of Nigeria rejects election of new Archbishop of Canterbury. Pengassin not greater than Nigeria, says FG. Tinubu orders reduction of 2026 Hajj fee. And lastly, right here on Nigerian Tribune, fire got part of Rivers Secretariat. Moving over to this day, President rallies support for Dangote, highlights his contributions to economy, declares Nigeria greater than Pengassin, describes Africa's richest man as an institution, tax NESG on industrial harmony. Abubakar Bagudu, poverty elimination, $1 trillion economy realizable by 2030. Ojulari, Nigeria lost over 6,000 barrels of oil to Pengassin's 3-day strike. Senate resolves to tackle U.S. government over Christian genocide talks resumes today. Moving over to Daily Trust and the last one right here. Parties. President shouldn't appoint INEC chair. Senate to debate genocide claim against Christians in Nigeria. 2027 court asks to stop Jonathan from contesting. Tinubu orders reduction of 2026 Hajj fare. Lastly, Sochima backs Dangote. NNPCL links gas scarcity to strike.
All right, thank you, Oji, for those headlines. And joining us now from Rivers as well, remotely, is Dr. Fyneface Dumnamene, Executive Director, Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, YEAC-Nigeria. Dr. Fyneface, good morning, and great to have you join us.
Thank you, Natalie. Good morning to you, and good morning, Ochi. Nice to join you from Port Harcourt this morning.
Right, and of course we have a third panelist here in the studio. We have Barrister Ezaputa with us as well. Barrister Ike Ezaputa. So I'm sure we're going to have a very pleasurable discussion this morning. Okay, let's begin with the boldest story here on Daily Trust. Party's president shouldn't appoint INEC chair. Now, one of the associations, we all know Nigeria's registered political parties under the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is saying that an independent body should appoint the chairman and not the president himself. Now, the big question, Barrister Zaputa, is if the president appoints the INEC chair, would it make INEC more APC than INEC?
See, my take is that even in football, you select a referee that is neutral, that doesn't even come from the same area. For instance, if Nigeria is playing UK today, you bring somebody from maybe US or Ghana to be referee, not somebody, from any of the parties. So even in football, you bring a neutral person to be the referee. And because of what happened in 2023 presidential election, with series of glitches, and after spending over 40 billion, and what they told us that was going to be free and fair, promises they made, and yet, and so there is one Ikechukwu Obiora. He has been appearing, a senator, has been appearing in many of the TV stations, suggesting a neutral way of getting INEC chairman, and I agree with him. He said that we have 6 geopolitical zones. We go to somebody who from polytechnics, maybe a rector in polytechnics, to head the one from Northwest, rector from College of Education to rec one region, to represent one region. I was particular, he said in our own, he mentioned Southeast, to be represented by a professor in law. He mentioned Southwest to be represented by a consultant in medicine, a professor in medicine, so that in the case of South-South, he said journalist to represent South-South. And then we should write a letter to the United Nations. And there's another international body. Is it Amnesty International? Amnesty International. To write a letter to them to give us people who come and help us get an election that is free and fair. And he gave an example about 3 countries that invited the United Nations and the external body to come and do their. Nothing wrong with that. We are running a global village now. So let us make it, if we can follow what Ikechukwu Obiora said.
Well, let's now throw it as well to Dr. Fyneface. I mean, parties are calling for an independent body to basically appoint the INEC chair and not the president. Just 1 minute. So essentially, Dr. Fyneface, do you agree with Barrister Ezaputa? The question I also have, the curveball, is who would set up or who would contract the so-called independent body, if not Mr. President himself? So are we just extending the problem by an additional step?
Thank you, Natalie. I think it's a good call to have an independent body, appoint our INEC chairman. And this is not the first time we've been making this call. This call has always been made. But to a very large extent, this call is being made at the wrong time now, because we are kind of very close to the point of, calling for the next INEC chairman to be appointed, because, Yakubu is just about to leave. But it's a good call, but at the wrong time. But then this kind of call is not something that you just made it and steps are taken to do it. It should have been something that will be promoted and pushed into our electoral act, for us to have it there in the electoral act, so that it becomes something that maybe the Council of State, or maybe the National Judicial Commission, or maybe we just look at any other central body that will enable Nigerians who are qualified to be requested to submit applications, submit their CVs, and then they are shortlisted, interviewed, and then employed to be neutral. But to a very large extent, no matter how we look at it, he who pays the piper takes the tune. So the tendency of the president that appoints the INEC chairman having the upper hand by way of whom he listens to more is there. No matter how you try to like claim INEC is independent, there is that tendency that you are loyal to the person that pays you, you are loyal to the person that employs you. So it's important for us to have, you know, a neutral body looking at the employment and engagement of our INEC chairman. It may help us, but I think we need to have that in our electoral act. And now is a late time to make this call because we have less than a year to bring in a new INEC chairman, and we cannot amend our laws to get this done within the shortest possible time.
So apparently we should be left with what we have at this point in time, since it's late, I guess.
Definitely, that remains urgent till we finish the 2027 election. Then if we are talking about amending our laws to bring that in, then we can look at that thereafter.
Okay,
wait a minute. I wanted to add that, you see, one of the greatest problems we have in Nigeria is lack of technology. This is 21st century.
Right.
When I was living in the US, you see these elections. Technology, you can even in the library, wherever. You stay in the library, you see where people are voting. In the library. It's so done technologically, and we find a situation whereby, you know, in fact, that is about, and they don't do all the elections the same time, you know. Then, but above all, I want to say that we need to do what happened in Kenya. Let all the litigations, court cases, end before the president or governor is sworn in.
I mean, that Barrister Zapata, while that's a great point, you might find that you have a long period of time to be a Nigerian without.
Look at how we took
leadership.
our president. What time did he take our president to declare state of emergency?
Right.
Wait a minute. He declared state of emergency in Rivers State. Between 48 hours, a whole National Assembly. The next thing you hear is that, you know, so it depends on what they want.
It depends on what they want.
This is one of the things they don't want.
But it also depends on it also depends on what Nigerians want as well. Because when you take a critical look at the electoral laws, you would understand that one of the most pressing things that Nigerians should be pushing for in this constitution review of a process is electoral reform, because the laws actually negate themselves. Somehow you have INEC saying that IREF is going to display results. You talked about digital transmission of results, right? As you experienced in the US, the libraries and the rest. INEC can assure that, but that is just one of its rights. It can do that, it can say it, but is it backed by the law? So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much INEC promises or what they say they will do. Does the law back it?
That's what I'm saying.
INEC can turn around tomorrow and say the law never promised that.
It's because they don't want it. Otherwise, the speed with which they did that of Rivers State.
But then it doesn't make you wonder. Don't they?
The of Gen-Z, finally, from what happened in Nepal and Morocco, young people, you can see what is happening in Morocco now. Gen-Zs, you see what happened, unless we are very careful. What young people are planning with social media, unless we are very careful.
Okay.
Nepal may happen.
All right, Vice Chairman, hold that thought. Oji, go ahead.
So we're talking about the alleged genocide. This is Nigerian Tribune, right, against Christians in Nigeria. So Senate moves to counter narrative may engage U.S. Congress.
Yes.
You know, just in days or weeks past, we've been hearing about the accusation that Nigerians are paying lip service regarding to the killing of Christians in the country, by the way. And as usual, it's of our nation to find a way and rate these. They are trying to counter the U.S., you know, about the expose, if I put it that way, you know, they made and all that stuff. So your thoughts on this, by the way?
Yes,
but I want to come from the perspective of truly, is there a genocide in Nigeria killing Christians, by the way?
First of all,
and also, the way Nigerians institutions are tackling this, is it the right way to go? As they say, they want to counter the U.S.
In fact, my book, I think it's chapter 12 of my book, African Child Soldier. You know, we find that as my first degree was on modern history. In fact, the only subject I made A1 in this world, my O-level, history. English too, but history. There has been a clash between Western civilization and Islam. It is going on. It's a global problem. The clash between Western civilization and Islam. And whereas in the case of Western civilization, led by Christianity, Jesus Christ did not encourage violence. When Peter went violent, he called him to order. But in the case of great Prophet Muhammad, it is jihad, 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 jihad. There was never a time he called these people to order. Again, we find that if you look at the flag of Saudi Arabia, the flag of Saudi, you will see a very long sword there. But you will see the one of Nigeria, you will see peace, agriculture, and so many other countries. In Israel, it is the Star of David. In America, you will see 50 stars. In China, you will see 4 stars. Nothing to encourage violence. So there is a book, I brought that book here some time ago. The name of the book is The Bible of European History. They mentioned there that Islam is religion of the sword. And when, what do you call it? Bishop Kuka mentioned it recently, this thing I said, in the launching of a book by one former general, Erabo. The Sultan of Sokoto came and disagreed with the position of Bishop Kuka. You can see Bishop Kuka, a Christian. Sultan of Sokoto, a Muslim. So that clash between, so I personally, I wrote letters. I think every third Tuesday of every September, all the 193 presidents meet at New York. I attended it once. And that is what Trump did in his first term. You know, this is his second term. He came to the meeting. And you know, he is not a diplomatic person. He called out our president then, Buhari. Mr. President Buhari of Nigeria, why are you killing Christians in Nigeria? Openly. So this thing is not even a new thing.
Okay.
It's not a new thing.
Dr. Fyneface, so I'll love you to weigh into, and let's get your your thoughts on this. Senate moves
Chibok, all these our Chibok girls.
To counter the narrative of alleged genocide against Christians in Nigeria, by the way, and may engage the U.S. Congress. You know, so can you walk us through what could actually be at this point in time Nigerians, the Senate, paying attention to what the message is or countering? Truly, is there anything like genocide of Christians in Nigeria as alleged by the U.S. Congress?
Yeah, this has been a very lingering issue in this country, and the current classification of the crisis in Nigeria as genocide against Christians. I think the U.S. is looking at the situation in Benue State. I think that is where the focus is. You know, those killings that happen in Benue State is where the U.S. is citing and returning, Nigeria to the CPC list. Now, the point is that we can't really outrightly say there is a genocide against Christians being perpetrated by the Muslims going on in Nigeria today, except we are just focusing on what happened in Benue State, which is, of course, something to be concerned about because we know what happened there. But to a very large extent, I don't think it is good enough to say that Nigerians are being, Christians in Nigeria, are being killed. Genocide is being worked against them. So this engagement with the U.S. Congress is a welcome development, because I believe that the engagement will entail the Nigerian Senate putting on the ground facts and figures about what is happening in Nigeria and how what they have claimed is not the true position of what is on the ground. But beyond engaging the U.S. Senate, I think they need to do more to improve security here at home. Because even while they are trying to engage the Nigerian Senate, the U.S. Senate, there is the tendency that there may also be the occurrence of situation that will even buttress what the U.S. Senate, is saying. But the point here is that the U.S. values human rights very well. They value human beings very well. So even if what has happened affected just a few people, the fact that those who have perpetrated that against the Christians are the Muslims, they will see it in the direction that they have seen it. So beyond engaging the U.S. Congress, the Nigerian Senate should go a long way to make laws and push the executive to take steps that will make Nigeria not to be classified as a country where Christians are massacred in a genocidal situation like they have described it to be.
All right, now let's head to the biggest news in Nigeria today, aside Pengasin and what VP Shetima said on behalf of the president about Pengasin. We'll come to that, but let's look at this headline that cascades from The Guardian and makes its way to Daily Independent. The Guardian presents a local perspective, certificate scandal, Mba behind my ordeals, Nnaji claims. And then cascading to Daily Independent, ADC knocks Tinubu for retaining minister accused of certificate forgery. Dr. Fyneface, I know you've been following this story. Now we're seeing parties speaking up at the end of the day. Prof. Otwaya, the UNNVC, has released a statement disowning the certificates, the academic credentials of now Minister Uche Nnaji. The Enugu State government has spoken as well, responding to claims by Nnaji's camp, the team that spoke on his behalf at the just concluded press conference in Abuja, where they said that all of these accusations are tied to political desperation and deliberate misinformation circulating in the media. The Nnaji team is standing by the minister's certificate, saying that he indeed is a bona fide alumnus of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Now, in a swift response, the Enugu State government has come out and said they have nothing to do, or they are not involved in the certificate forgery allegations leveled against the minister. But the minister, somehow, in his initial statement, is still blaming the government, citing a strong political angle to this. What's your appreciation, Dr. Fyneface, of this controversy that has rocked Nigeria, both at the state level and, of course, at the federal, for the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology?
Yeah, Natalie, I think this is very unfortunate that the Nigerian leaders will always be finding themselves in a state of alleged certificate forgeries. Now, what is currently being said against the Minister of Innovation is similar to what Mr. President himself is also facing relating to his United States Chicago University certificate. And I wonder why Nnaji will not come forward to kind of defend himself by presenting facts and figures about whether or not the certificate is forged or not, but try to blame the Enugu State government. Now, the university is the overall body here that will determine whether or not what he's saying is the truth. And the university have made it clear that the certificate were not issued by them. I am an alma mater of University of Nigeria, UNN, and if he actually passed through the system, he's a lion. He should come out as a lion to defend himself. And if he fails to do so, he shouldn't trade blames. There is nothing to trade blames here about. And I am also surprised that Mr. President is still keeping him till now to, be trading blame. He's supposed to be suspended to pave way for investigation. And when that happens, then it can be reinstated. So he shouldn't just blame anybody, the Enugu State government or not, because I don't think that his own home, government will go against him if he has the certificate. And if he never had any issue with the certificate, I can tell you that there wouldn't have been any situation of throwing this up. So the tendency is there. I've also seen online, beyond the press conference, where they presented a brochure of 1985, and they are pointing at a picture of him on that. But now, whatever it is that they are putting on the internet, this is an era of AI. Nothing is impossible. So when you have this document being presented that, this is Nnaji in 1985, and the university said he never graduated from there, it is what the university said that we are going to believe. At some point, he said, he admitted through premium time that he actually got his certificate. At some point, he came back to have a U-turn from Sahara reporter.
Now, just a quick clarification. Let me jump in, Dr. Fyneface. Now, that Premium Times report that featured the minister basically not disowning, but owning the certificate forgery, it was actually based on an initial court filing where the minister said the school was uncooperative about giving him his certificate. So that was not a response to Premium Times report. It was more of an initial document cited by Premium Times. But in that strongly worded response by the minister to the allegations, he said that people should take as word what the registrar released to People's Gazette in 2023 and not what Premium Times is purporting in its report, that what People's Gazette got from the registrar's office is authentic, and that is where people should rest their case.
Yeah, but be that as it may, I think everything still falls back to the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, to come forward, and whatever document we receive from the university as the true position of whether or not he attended the school, he completed his studies in 1985, and that is it. And while the UNN is working on this, I think the NYSC should also come forward to tell us this. So we look forward to them being able to resolve this. And I think the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, is at the forefront of being able to clear this particular matter.
What do you think about the handwritten application by the minister sometime in the 1980s when he requested to retake an exam, virology, and the time stamp apparently clashes with when he was issued a certificate? Questions are being raised as to why he should be seeking to receipt an exam at the same time, this same year that he passed out from the National Youth Service Corps.
Exactly, and that is why we are coming to say that the issues we are having currently actually has something to do with certificate forgery. And I think the university is clear on this from what you have said and what I've also read about how the university said they never graduated, they never issued the certificate. So I think it has some questions to answer, and I think with time everything will be clearer. But the point that he has also presented a handwritten, application requesting to receipt a course he failed is a clear indication that he never graduated, because you cannot receipt an exam after you are done with it and you are currently serving. So to a very large extent there is a lot of questions that he has to answer, and I believe that the court will be able to unravel all the circumstances surrounding this and then put this matter to rest within the shortest possible time. But I think that he shouldn't be in office using his position to continue to manipulate the system while this investigation, continues and this law continues in court. Betta Edu, we know what happened in relation to Betta Edu. The moment she was accused of, some infractions in investigative process for, the disbursement of some funds, she was asked to step aside and she never returned. But in this case, Mr. President shouldn't make us to believe that because he had the same issue and it has not been fully cleared. That is why he's also not given listening ears to the reason why he needs to step aside for this investigation to continue.
Well, there's something you said, but then again, let's go back to this accusation. Let me just put it that way from Nnaji claiming that Peter Mba is behind this ordeal, right? But yes, devil's advocate right now. Let's come from this prism. Do you think that these being on the front burner right now got something to do with this man from the grapevine? We're hearing that he wants to be governor of Enugu State too. And also, we're hearing from the grapevine as alleged that our governor, Dr. Peter Mba, is somewhat, eyeing to move to APC. And the faction of Mr. Nnaji don't want him in APC. Do you think there's some political undertone, playing out right here at this point in time, since is heated in Nigeria right now, politics, right? 2027 is the election, but it's heated already at this point in time. What do you think about, this stuff I just laid out for you?
Definitely, Audrey. Definitely, there is a political undertone to what is happening right now, and that is why you have the involvement of the Enugu State government. Although they are denying non-involvement, it is important when you are watching someone that is trying to come and take their seat, and then coming to the APC where Peter Mba is also eyeing to go. So politics, they have to dig out whatever it is that you have as a stain. Like as at the time that the minister attended UNN, he wasn't the only one that attended that school from from the Enugu State there. Other people also attended from across the country in 1985. So they are all aware, as their schoolmates, what went wrong and what didn't go wrong. They are all aware of how some things may have happened. So that is why you have this being dug out now, because they are trying to ensure that he is crippled, and whether or not he wins this case as it is now, the dent is already on him. But I don't see him even winning this case. For that reason, all of the issues that they are fighting for him not to come to APC, fighting for him not to come and contest as the governor of Enugu State, and trying to cripple him is all about politics. And this must not be unconnected with not only 2027, by ensuring that he does not contest at the time, but also ensuring that he is not reappointed if he completes his tenure, so that he doesn't even have resources to come for the election. So politics has a role to play in what is currently ongoing. But then the issue remains that if you are dented in any way, there is the need for the truth to prevail, no matter how political that process may be.
Right. I mean, I think two major challenges that political aspirants face in current society include credibility concerns and legitimacy. Nobody wants to be perceived as illegitimate, especially when it's now having to do with something like this, of this magnitude. But let's shift away from there because we're running out of time. Daily Global, I would like you to quickly react to this, Barrister Zapota. Dangote, Nigeria greater than Pengassin, according to the federal government. You can react to this certificate forgery allegation, and then we can segue into this.
Dangote what? Sorry?
Dangote, Nigeria greater than Pengassin. This is according to the federal government.
Since you have touched many areas about the certificate, I just want to say
Go ahead.
You see, from the biblical point of view, we find in Luke chapter 6, verse 43, from their fruits we shall know them. And like Chinua Achebe said, we always choose, our 11th 11 instead of first 11 to be governing us. See the quality. As I was coming here, I discussed with the driver. He said, is it not the same thing that the Oga Kwata Kwata did? Since APC came to power, we find that Buhari was asked about his own certificates. He said that his YEAC certificate is with the army. On further inquiries, we find the army said we don't even have a certificate. I know somebody in the Senate who is there with ordinary primary school certificates. So in this country, all you need is the ability to speak English, once you can speak English. But what is annoying me most is the position. Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. Why America is leading to the world today is because of level of technology. Before we put people to such places, we should do like when Obasanjo did. Go and look for somebody, go see well. Those who are globally known for that. Philip Emeagwali is the person you go and beg, please come and head, this ministry. This ministry is a very serious ministry. 90% of what we have in this country, no electricity, no food, all these things, election, all these things, poverty, is because of lack of technology. We are still farming the same way my parents, my grandfather farmed in the 15th century. You know? So for such a very important position to be like this, then finally he should resign, because this issue, we can't tolerate it. And some people are saying that why our president is not in a hurry to suspend him so that private, so that investigation can go on. It's because he has a similar case. So on the issue of Dangote,
Pengasin. Now, the federal government is saying that Nigeria is bigger than Pengasin. And Pengasin has fired back, saying that if Dangote attempts to fire workers en masse again, they would indeed go on the strike.
You see, from the historical point of view, because when we find that he employed Indians, foreigners, more than us, it reminds me of what happened when railway was going through eastern Nigeria. Or when railway started in Nigeria. Ahmadu Bello found out that majority of the drivers were Igbos. He called the British man in charge and said, I called this person. This person says his name is Okafor. I called this one. This one says his name is Okeke. I called this one. This one says Nnamani. Is it only Igbos that you employ here? Then the British press asked Ahmadu Bello, why do you prefer foreign employees more than the Igbos? He said, look, the foreign employees do the work and go. But the Igbos, they do the work and they stay. So this is 21st century, 65 years. What are Indians still doing there? Because what annoyed these Pengasin people is that instead of retaining Nigerian workers, he employed more, I don't know how many thousands of Indian workers.
Up to 5,000.
Huh?
Up to 5,000.
Everywhere I see this, it annoys me. In my street, when this government was doing my road, after 2 letters I wrote to the governor, they came to do my road. I saw a white man standing there. Not even an Asian colored man. Why is this thing cannot stay more than 3 years? He said I should go and report to the governor. But why I'm angry is that 65 years now, we have polytechnics, engineers from our universities. So why is it that everywhere you go, you still see the Indians, you still see Chinese, you still see what is happening? That's why I was talking about this level of technology. Why are we not taking over these things? In my legal profession, I am not aware. There's nobody I know. If you study in England, you go to law school. If it is Russia, 2 years, law school. You know, you see, that's one thing Peter Obi was saying. Production, not consumption. What are Indians doing there? These Indians, I know when they were the poorest people in this world.
Right, all right.
And these Indians, recently, I thank God, they employed Rema, a musician.
Okay, Barrister Zapta, we're out of time, so we have to wrap it up. But you've made your point, you've established your point, and it's food for thought. Thank you, Barrister Zapta, for joining. And Dr. Fyneface, thank you as well for being a part of the show today.
Thank you for having me on the program.
With a real fine face.
Yeah, you've just been complimented by Desafutta says you have a real fine face. Okay, the morning show returns in seconds, and when we come back, we'll be looking at what Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu said during the presidential visit to Abia State. What was he clamoring for, and what was the response? The show returns shortly. Stay tuned.